Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'll just wait a minute or two to let people come on in. It is so great to see all of you here. I would love to hear if you wouldn't mind just putting in the comments in the chat. Where are you coming from today? And are you snowed in? We're snowed in here in Western Pennsylvania today. Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and jump right in because I have a lot to share in 30 minutes and I want to be respectful of all of your time because I know you're all very busy and I want to make sure that we make the most of it. So, here we go. Today is the first day of the January Reset 2025. The January Reset is something that I started last year. And so this is the second year that I'm doing it. And last year it was more behind a registration. So a lot of women joined and we had a small group where we met throughout the month of January, and I shared some things and did some lessons. And then we kind of just spent the month together, just starting the year off really strong. And from a great place. And so I wanted to do that again this year, but this year I wanted to make it open more widely, more broadly. And so that's why I'm doing these live streams. And this is my first time ever live streaming. I have a goal in 2025 to do more trying new things and trying things that feel a little bit scary for me. So I am doing that today. So welcome. Thanks so much for being a part of my very first live stream. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. Thank you for being here. So you are in the right place if you are a high achiever. If you tend to have very, very high expectations of yourself and you are constantly achieving and succeeding and you're kind of like I'm almost addicted to that success and really continuing to drive and prove yourself. If you are have a lot on your plate, if you are like the responsible one in your family, maybe you were in your family of origin and maybe you are now, but you just have a lot on your plate and you just feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, you are definitely in the right place. You're in the right place if you feel like you can never stop. So you feel like you're constantly going and going and going, and it's kind of like maybe, each day is just a marathon or a sprint to the end. And then you get up and do it all over again. You feel like you never have time to stop and check in with yourself and take stock of what's going on in your life. You might be afraid to even find out, like know what you'll find out if you do stop. And you kind of feel like the world might just stop turning if you stop. And you rarely take time for yourself because of that, because you have so much on your plate, because you love to achieve and succeed, and because you feel like you can never stop. You are never really taking time for yourself. It's like self-care. What is that? You hear this term and it's like, it feels very far away, feels very out of reach to you. And you're so focused on meeting everyone else's needs that it's sometimes almost easier just to pretend that you don't even have any needs, to be quite honest. So if any or all of those apply to you, you are in the right place. And I just want to introduce myself because I know some of you who are here, we know each other really well, or we go back really far. And some of you who are here are brand new to me and we have never interacted. And so I just want to tell you a little bit about myself real quick before I jump in. So, like, why should you listen to me? Who am I to be talking about all of this today? So I'm Leanna. I am a mom, I'm a business owner. I'm a podcast host. I am the host of the podcast, the Executive Coach for Moms podcast, and the founder of the Executive Mom Reset. And I am also a recovering perfectionist and workaholic. So for me, I have spent the majority of my life working and working really hard and working all the time. 60 to 80-hour work weeks were the norm for me. And then I had a baby and kind of felt like, oh, how am I going to do this? I don't know how to balance all of this. And I don't really know how to show up at work in the way that I used to, and also figure out how to be a parent and do this new job that I have created for myself now. So that is kind of what led me to create the Executive Mom Reset. And it's a coaching program where I help executive moms learn how to kind of balance all of it and how to enjoy both their career and their life and everything else that's going on, so that at the end of our lives, when we get to the end, we can really feel like we don't have regrets about how we spent our time. I think that feels really important to me. I am a certified coach. I focus on executive coaching, life coaching, and career coaching mainly. And I'm also a former ed tech startup exec. So I have been leading a couple different companies in the past. My background is in customer success and higher education. And I've led multiple companies from early stage startup to acquisition and on through beyond that. So that's a little bit about me. And I want to talk a little bit about just what you're going to walk away with this week. So by participating in this program, in the January reset, and coming to these calls, and I will also have worksheets for each day that I will share with you. And so by doing all of this, I want you to know what you're going to be walking away with. So you're going to be walking away with more clarity. So more clear about what you want and what's most important to you. I think that, again, because we rarely take time to stop and check in, it's kind of like, am I on the right path? Am I in the right place? Am I on the track that I want to be? And so I just want you to have a little bit more clarity about what you want, what's most important to you, and also a clear vision for the year ahead. As you think about where you want to be and what you want your life to look like, I want you to have a more clear vision about that, and also figure out what is it that you need to do this year in 2025 to take steps toward that goal and vision that you have for your life. So we'll talk about a plan and how to get there. And I know that almost all of us love action. And so we will definitely get there in the first couple of days. We're going to be doing some reflection and learning about what's going on in our lives. So this is the agenda for the next 5 days. Today is day 1. Today's focus says take stock. And then we've got 4 more days after today. So every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time on LinkedIn, I will be live to talk about this. I will also have this going out on my podcast as well, just the audio of it. And then that way you can, if you want to be listening on the go whenever you're on your drive home or out on a walk or something like that, or doing your makeup or dishes or any of the things that you do where you could be listening, then I wanted to have that available as well. So you can listen to me on your phone in your pocket. And we are at day 1 today. What a great time. I love this time of year. I love the beginning of the new year because I feel like it just brings so much positive energy and optimism about the year ahead and the ability to make positive changes in our lives. And before we jump into today's lesson, I wanted to share a free gift that I have for you for attending. And so if you would like to join me for a more personalized vision of 2025, then I am offering a 1 hour vision call. So this is where we'll go through and look at your vision for 2025. It's a nice strategy session. It's a full hour, and it's a free hour where you have my time. We'll talk all about what you want to accomplish this year, what's most important to you, and how I may be able to help support you. So there's a little QR code on the screen there. If you take a picture of that, that will take you directly to the page to go ahead and schedule your free vision call. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into today's lesson. So today and each day, we're going to have a question, a meta question. And I learned this in my coach training. I did my coach training back in 2017. And honestly, it was completely life-changing for me. I have also had a coach for the past 4 years. And I find coaching to be so life-changing. And so in my coach training program, we had 4 meta questions that really frame every coaching session and every inquiry, every opportunity that we have to check in with ourselves. And the first question that we always ask is, where are you now? So that's kind of the overarching meta question for today. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Let's dive into that. So where are you now? So some questions to ask yourself. When you stop and take a look at your life and you look around, what do you notice? And if we just kind of step back, and I know that this is hard because we just want to go and get back to our email and make sure that we are triaging all the things that people need from us because we are so needed. But if you stop for a minute, step back and look around, what do you notice? And I do have a worksheet with all these questions on it that I'm happy to share with you after, and I'll show you how to access that. But I'm going to go through some of the questions here to start to ponder on. And then whenever you notice these things, how do you feel about what you see? And I want to invite you just to consider that when you're looking at things, when you're looking at your life and how things are going, our tendency is to look at that with judgment. Our brains are wired for negativity. Our brains are wired to identify threats and bad things much more than to look at good things. And so a lot of times we will only see the quote unquote bad things. And so whenever you're looking at this, whenever you are taking stock of how things are going, I just want to invite you to step away from judgment, give yourself a little space, and step into a different energy of curiosity. Curiosity is my favorite place to be. And the reason why, and when you think about a judgment curiosity spectrum, over on the judgment end, you have got, like, your mind is made up. It's closed. There is no opportunity for learning. There's no opportunity for anything new. It's just, this is bad and I know it and it's done. And our brains love that because our brains love efficiency. And our brains love to just say, like, I know the answer and I don't need to spend any more time exploring here. We know this is bad. Move on. Okay. So when you're there, there's just not a lot of opportunity. There's not a lot of space. If we move over more into the space of curiosity, when we are curious and in that space of curiosity, and in that mindset and kind of looking at things with that vision, we have the opportunity to have a much more open and spacious kind of viewpoint. We can learn because we don't know the answer. We are genuinely curious about, what could be going on here? And whenever we do that, whenever we are open and we're just asking questions and being genuinely curious, then we can learn so much. And that is the place where we can make true change from. So if you are doing this exercise and you're looking at where are you now, what's going on in your life, your career, and what are you noticing? Then we can look at it with curiosity. And if there are things that you want to change, that's the place to do it from. It's from the curiosity. Why do I want to change that? What don't I like about that? What would I want to see different? Those kinds of things. But when we get into judgment, then that just doesn't get us very far. So I just want to share that caveat. That's for all of the questions throughout the week. I think that's a good lens to take a look at everything from. Okay, so a few other questions that you can ask yourself. So what's going well? And this is so important because I think that whenever we think about our vision for our lives, we only think about the things we want to change and bring into our lives, add to our lives, remove from our lives. But also, what are the things that are already in our lives that we are happy about, that we're grateful for, that we want to make sure we keep, so that whenever we are making these changes and stepping into transformation, we are also taking some things along with us that we really like about our lives now. So please make sure to also think about that. So what's going well? What's not going so well? And let's be honest with ourselves about that as well. And what is the number one thing you'd like to change? I would like to show you the wellness wheel because I think that this is a great kind of framework or visual, if you're a visual person, to take a look at multiple areas of your life. And if you listen to my podcast, I talked about this last week. So if you're here with me live, then here's a visual. So the wellness wheel has 6 to 8 components. There's not like one and only wellness wheel. If you Google it, there are lots of different ones, but this is just one I picked because I like that it has words and pictures for different learning styles. But the wellness wheel has 6 to 8 different components. They're different areas of our lives. And I think for us, high achieving women, one of the things that is helpful to notice is that work, occupational, is just one area, just one equal area of this wheel. There are also all these different areas. I actually was talking with one of my clients the other day who had listened to my podcast and had done this exercise. And she said, oh my gosh, I just hadn't even thought, I haven't thought about some of these other areas in a long time, because for me, it's just been work and kids and work and kids. And there's so much more to life that I want to invite in and I want to remember and focus on. I just haven't really thought about them since I have been moving up in my career and having more kids. So what I would invite you to do with the wellness wheel as an exercise, and this is also on the worksheet, but take a look at each area and rate each area on a scale of 0 to 10 in terms of how things are going. And just note, there's not like a universal rating scale. It's subjective to you because what's most important to each person is different, and what people care about and how people would rate things is different. So, so there's no right or wrong answer here. I know we love knowing what the right answer is and making sure we get that. But so this is a great exercise just to kind of take stock, our theme for today. And then also, I would invite you to look at kind of the middle of it and kind of like, if you step back and take a macro look, kind of the balance of it all. And of course, nobody balances perfectly. This is never going to be in perfect harmony. That is not the expectation. It's probably the expectation we have of ourselves, but I'm not trying to put any more expectations on ourselves because we already have enough. But also, just how do you feel about the balance that you have? How do you feel that you're balancing all of these different areas? Or even if you say, you know what, only 5 of these are important to me, are the ones that I care about. How do you feel that you're balancing those 5? Okay. So those are a couple of exercises, a couple of questions to ask yourself on day 1 of where am I now? And I just want to offer that the idea that I am right where I need to be. I was doing a meditation this morning, and it was just repeating this phrase: I am right where I need to be. I am right where I need to be. Even if I want to make changes, even if there is another place that I believe is better for me, right now in this moment, I am right where I need to be. And I can make changes from this place if I so choose. But I think to me, like this is really grounding to just remind myself that right where I am now is exactly where I need to be. Okay, so that's what I wanted to make sure to share with you today. Like I said, have a worksheet for you. And if you would like to receive that worksheet, I'm going to share this QR code. Or if you're listening back to this later, I'll have a link in the show notes. But you can subscribe to the January reset. And I'll also share it here in the chat. Okay, so there's a QR code or in the chat, and you can subscribe, and then you'll get updates and reminders as well as the worksheets for each day. So I invite you to do that. And then also, like I said before, if you would like to connect with me, I do have the podcast, the Executive Coach for Moms podcast. If you want to listen back to this later, if maybe you got a little distracted at some point and you want to go back and listen to it when you can really sit down and focus, that's why I have the podcast so you can listen. Or we'll have recordings of these live streams as well. If you're more of a visual person and you want to see the slides, then you can. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. And then just a reminder that that vision call is available to you if you would like to have a chat and just go through, maybe if you're more of a one-on-one person or you want some feedback. I love doing these kinds of calls, so I would love to talk to you, and I would invite you to participate in that. So thank you all for joining me for the very first day of the January reset and my very first live stream ever in my life. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope I hope this works. I hope that it went to all the channels. And I genuinely hope to see you tomorrow. If you would like to sign up for tomorrow, let me just put that. So the QR code that's showing now is to register for tomorrow. All of the events are on LinkedIn. So you can go to my page and you can go into the events list, and you will see all 5 events for this week. So tomorrow we're going to work on our vision. So I hope to see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.